Am I the asshole for asking my brother to pay my legal fees from his inheritance? 2 years ago my grandfather died and our father's sister, aunt, was the executor of our grandfather's estate. In our country, if your parent was meant to get a distribution of the estate but they have passed, it goes to their children. Well, my dad, also my brother's dad, has passed away, so we should legally be entitled to his share. Our aunt, executor, said that there was no estate. A few months after Grandpa passed away I began to get suspicious as my aunt and her husband spent a lot of money on a new car, holidays, cruises, renovations, etc. I decided to ask a lawyer if anything could be done. The lawyer offered to take on myself and my brother's case at no cost, just 30% of the amount if we won. I asked my brother if he wanted to join, and explained everything. I also told him I got in just before the statute of limitations ended, so this was his only chance. I did all the work, research, hiring a lawyer, finding information and the house sale, etc. My brother was vehemently against it. He said I could do what I wanted, but he didn't care about the money and wanted nothing to do with my aunt, so he'd stay out of it. I respected what he said and went in alone, taking on the risk alone in my opinion. Well, I received a settlement offer yesterday which seems fair. It also includes my brother. My lawyer refuses to negotiate the settlement at all because it includes my brother. He said my brother isn't his client, so he can't negotiate. As it currently stands, I get significantly less than my brother, as 100% of the legal fees come from my portion. For example, I get $14,000 and he gets $20,000, because I have to pay $6,000 legal fees. I am suggesting a distribution of $17,500 and $16,500 because I did literally everything. If I reject the settlement offer and either counter-offer or let it go to trial, my brother is not guaranteed to be included anymore. Now that there's a real possibility of money on the table, he's completely flip-flopped and wants me to accept the offer which includes him. Because he isn't a client, it's the only way that he would be included. In my opinion, he had the chance to join when I literally offered it to him a year ago, but he chose not to join because he didn't think it would go anywhere. I don't want him to get nothing and I'm happy enough with the settlement offer. I just don't think it's fair for me to pay all the legal fees when without me he would literally have no settlement at all. If he didn't flip-flop and had joined in the beginning, we could counter and negotiate more of what we are entitled to. My brother now says he really wants this money and is asking me to do anything to keep him included, so he wants me to accept it, as even countering it means he's out. I'm happy to do that for him, but it does mean I'm taking a loss in the offer. It says I'm entitled to 60% more, so I had planned to counter before my brother asked me to just accept to basically ensure he's still involved. Is it fair since I did everything to expect my brother to pay slightly more legal fees than me? Again, without me having done this and settled the way I have agreed to, he would have zero and never be able to get anything because the statute of limitations has passed. Thank you. Agree to 50-50. You're still getting a payout. No need to get greedy because you feel it's unfair. You agreed to the lawyer's costs. You didn't counter, so you have to pay. You're the client. Split the share between you two after paying all the legal fees, discovery cost and other expenses. The inheritance money should be counted after all associated estate costs have been paid. Counter offer. Get the maximum you can get. Pay the legal fees and split what's left 50-50, but if I were you, I'd put in writing in a binding document that you'll split proceed with your brother so there are no issues moving forward. Tell your brother that if he stays included, then he has to split the costs of the fees, so the settlement will only occur if he is willing to split the amount, after fees 50-50. If not, tell him to get a lawyer. Take the lawyer's fees out first, then split it. That is fair. Am I the asshole for banning my younger sister from camping? My younger sister, F19, has come to live with me, M25, during her summer vacation from college. As our parents live overseas, I've sorta been tasked with looking out for her. I try not to be overly protective and aim to be a cool, older brother rather than a helicopter parent. After all, she is an adult. My sister told our parents that she planned on hanging out with her friends for a few days and that they would not leave our city. Our parents thought it would be perfectly fine and agreed to it. The problem started when my sister told me that she actually planned to go camping with some of her friends, F19, F20, and F20. I was cool with it and asked her to keep her cell phone on her so that she could call me if she needed to. She said that she and her friends planned on leaving behind all technology as they wanted the fullest experience. I thought this was a bad idea and strongly recommended that at least one of them keep a phone, to which my sister responded, they'd think about it. The day before the planned trip, my sister said that they'd be joined by several more people, some of whom she described as a little sketchy. I told her that was a really bad idea and that she and her friends should consider uninviting anyone they thought was sketchy. I also insisted that she take her phone. My sister flat out refused all this and said I was being too controlling. I got annoyed and said that if she wasn't willing to compromise, then she wasn't going on that trip. She started yelling at me and called our parents, telling them that I was preventing her from seeing her friends. I told them how she planned on going camping with sketchy people, and my parents also refused to let her go. After the call ended, my sister started yelling at me again and said I was annihilating her social life. Am I the asshole? Update: my sis and her friends were supposed to head out last night, however sis never went. This morning, my sis told me that 2 of her friends who planned on going cancelled as well. This was because some guy in his 40s who they never met before somehow inserted himself into group of people going. Apparently, he was invited by someone. This man wanted to the leader of the group and planned on going somewhere more remote than was initially agreed upon. He then told my sis's friends that he would hold on to everyone's cell phone so that they could all get the most out of the trip and technology wouldn't interfere. My sis agrees that was a little creepy, but still says I'm an ass for snitching to mom and dad, even though she was the one who called in the first place. Edit: for those wondering, we are from a socio-cultural group where kids, regardless of age, are kinda expected to listen to their parents. To their credit, our parents have never really enforced this and have allowed us to live without too many restrictions. So long as we don't harm other people or ourselves, they wouldn't interfere too much. My sister is still dependent financially on our parents, and myself to an extent. However, I never once used this to leverage my argument. Regardless of whatever bad decision she may make or fight she may have with our parents, my door is always open to her. As of now, I sort of hiding in my room as my sister is still furious with me. I'll try talking to her once she cools down. Not the asshole for being concerned about your sister. I always have my cell phone with me when I leave the house in case of an emergency. I think it's pretty funny, though. You think you can forbid or prevent your adult sister from doing what she wants. It's even funnier your parents think they can when they live overseas. What's the plan? To lock her in a room with armed guards who will tackle her if she tries to leave. Not the asshole. Her safety is more important than her feelings, and everything about this absolutely screams danger. Not the asshole for objecting to her walking into a scenario that sounds like the setting of a horror movie. But you also can't stop her. Leaning hard into the "do not be an idiot, take your phone" angle is probably your only option. Not the asshole. My wife and I are experienced campers. We like disconnecting. We would be idiots to leave our phones completely at home. What if someone got hurt and needed emergency help? She could get lost in the woods, trip and twist her ankle, cut herself with a knife, burn herself, get food poisoning, be attacked by a wild animal. All situations where she could need evacuation. No phone, no trip. Period. Holy hell, that update took a turn. I'm glad you were looking out for her. Am I the asshole for being upset with the clothes my granddaughter wore on her way out of the maternity ward? I know it sounds silly, but I would like an outside opinion and accept any judgment. I have 4 children and 5 grandchildren. For all of my grandchildren, I made a knitted clothes and hat for them to come out of the maternity ward. It started with my first grandchild and all the ones that followed. My kids asked me to do it. It is customary in my country for clothes to be a certain color to represent something good, health, peace and protection. I don't do it professionally and I work, so it's something I do in my spare time, and it takes months because I do it with all the love and care. Nor do I force my children to accept it. Most ask right after they announce the pregnancy if I can make the clothes. My oldest daughter, I'll call Pam, announced that she was pregnant and asked me to make it for her daughter. We found out later. Clearly I did. She chose the color red and honestly, it was one of the prettiest jobs I've ever done and finished within 7 months of her pregnancy. She gave birth about 20 days ago. My granddaughter was born healthy, perfect and bright. I was heartbroken on the way out of the maternity ward when I found out that my granddaughter would not wear the clothes I made, but one that Pam got from her in-laws from a very expensive brand, like Gucci. I didn't say anything to her, but in a conversation with my son I just vented that I was heartbroken about it and that I wouldn't have any problems if she didn't ask, and I didn't do it in the sense of exposing my daughter or anything, but just after my son insisted on me talking because he realized that I was a little down. The word spread among my children's until it reached Pam in the form of a scolding for someone else. She called me angrily saying that she didn't believe I was jealous of an clother and that her daughter could wear at any time, but that I decided to make this moment about me and not celebrate my granddaughter's life. I'm lost. I'm just heartbroken that I've been making something so lovingly for months for a specific moment and not been told at any point that she wouldn't use it. My family is divided, some criticizing me and others on my side. Am I the asshole? Yes, she asked to this. I'll give the context better and leave it to you. I stayed with her through delivery and the following 2 weeks. At their request, because my daughter was in pain from the C-section and my son-in-law was taking care of my granddaughter's paperwork, I put the clothes on her. There was a baby suitcase with the sets separated into packages and a label for what they for. There was only one for leave the maternity and there was that clother, and nothing else. I even took a look at the suitcase and asked if it was that package. She confirmed that it was what had this clothes. And no, I didn't comment on anything while I was there, because she was really stressed, tired and didn't need a comment like this. I didn't comment with her and I just commented with my son, because it was an extremely personal thing with no intention of reaching Pam, but the word spread. Not the asshole. If it's been a tradition that baby wears this when leaving the hospital, Mom shouldn't have asked you to make the outfit if she had no intention of following the tradition. If she hadn't asked you to do it, then that's different. Info. Did she ask you to just make the outfit? Or did she ask you to make the outfit specifically for her to take the baby home in? Not the asshole. You went to a lot of work making an outfit she asked for you to make. Specifically so she could bring the baby home in it. And her in-laws swooped in with a designer outfit. Also, you didn't vent to her. Your son is the asshole for spreading it around. You were trying to hold it together. Not the asshole. She shouldn't have asked you to go to all that trouble if she didn't plan to use the gifts for their intended occasion. And this is why it's important to just have direct conversations with the person you are upset with. Would I be the asshole if I spoke to my in-laws directly about wanting their help more with our kids? My husband, 32M, and I, 34F, have 2 children ages almost 2, 21 months, and 4 months. Naturally, this is a difficult and challenging season of our life. Any parent would understand that we are surviving, not necessarily thriving. My in-laws sold their home 3.5 hours away and purchased a home 1.5 hours away under the veil of being closer to us to be more actively involved grandparents to our 2 children. Since they have moved, we do not see them any more than we did when they lived 3.5 hours away. This breaks my husband's heart. Added. They decided to move on their own accord, and told us for months it was because they wanted to be closer to us, which was wonderful to hear, and we were excited for them to be closer for things like grandparents' reading day, at daycare, or for being there Christmas Day with our kids. I encourage him to ask them directly to come visit, to come over XYX days we are free, and encourage him to set up a plan with them so they know we are wanting some help. 2 under 2 has certainly been taxing, and especially the last few weeks, toddler tantrums upside down face. I have asked my husband to be more direct and tell his parents we need some help and a break. He instead takes the passive approach of saying, if you're free and want to come visit, we'd love to see you. Instead of a direct, we need help, can you come over? The in-laws have not taken him up on his offers to come visit. My husband is of the opinion that, if they wanted to come see their grandkids, they would. So he will not beg or nag, which I don't disagree with. However, we are all at the end of our ropes and some extra hands to help with the baby and entertain the toddler would be really wonderful. Would I be the asshole if I spoke to my in-laws directly about us wanting their help more? Additional context. We have both had several mental breakdowns in the last few weeks from overstress, frustration, and exhaustion. My family lives 1,500 miles away. We could hire a sitter, or a doula. But this is enmeshed with my husband's desire for his parents to be more actively involved in our kids' lives. Edited to add. We are certainly not hoping for someone else to raise our kids. We are also not asking them to come over and babysit. We are asking them to come spend time and maybe feed the baby for us while we tackle some chores or play cars with the toddler so he gets some more one-to-one attention. Edited. We are not looking for a babysitter, nor is our intent to leave them with our kids and we leave to go do our own thing away from the home. We are asking for them to come join us in our crazy on a Saturday for a few hours. Our kids are in daycare during the week and we both work full-time. We are not looking for childcare solutions. Just a little relief from the crazy on a Saturday now and then. I also am asking mostly because my husband wants to have his family help and is heartbroken then don't want to help more. We can totally hire someone, easily. I am asking how, or if, it is appropriate for me to tell them directly that we would like their involvement, specifically. You are the asshole. You and your husband chose to have these kids. They're your responsibility. Your husband's approach with his parents is fine. If they want to help, they will initiate it. You are not entitled to anything from them, whatever your husband desires. As you said, you can hire a sitter, nanny, or whatever. Can you ask for help? Certainly. That said, it sounds like you expect or demand help, so you are the asshole. He's right, they would be more involved if they wanted to. Time to hire help if you need it and focus on finding ways to spend time with the family outside of the help. The in-laws have not taken him up on his offers to come visit. Gee. Maybe because you don't seem to want to spend time with them or consider their desires, but just use them for free labor. You are the asshole. It's your husband's job to manage his parents. If he doesn't want to reach out more directly for help from them, ultimately, that's his decision to make. That being said, I think it's fair to insist that he's more direct. If you guys are drowning, yes, he needs to ask for them to throw him a rope, even if it's uncomfortable or dings his pride or something.